In the summer of 2023, on the tranquil shores of Willow Lake in upstate New York, a $2 million dock was obliterated by federal agents right before my eyes. This wild tale kicked off when my nosy HOA neighbor, whom I'll call Vivian, dialed 911 because I let two friends pitch a tent near my lakeside cabin. Yes, she called emergency services over a backyard campout on my own land. Vivian, married to a man with deep legal ties, thought she was invincible. Little did she know, her extravagant dock was hiding a secret that would unravel her entire world. What was it? Buckle up, because this story will leave your jaw on the floor. I'd love to know where you're reading this from. Drop your location in the comments. It all began on a warm July evening. I'd inherited my cozy cabin from my grandfather, Walter, for years earlier. As a freelance graphic designer, I cherished the serenity of Willow Lake, where I worked from home. That Friday, my buddies, Liam and Sophie, rolled in from the city for a weekend getaway. We decided to camp in my backyard, not out of necessity, but to relive the carefree days of our youth. We set up a small tent behind a cluster of pine trees Walter planted in the 1950s, barely noticeable from the road. By a modest fire pit, also built by Walter, we roasted marshmallows, swapped stories, and laughed under the stars. The fire was safely contained, surrounded by stones, far from any structures. It was the kind of evening that felt like a warm hug from the past. From my cabin's humble wooden dock, I could see Vivian's monstrosity of a Dhaka 40-foot concrete behemoth, painted stark white and lit up with LEDs like a runway. Walter's dock, by contrast, was a simple 10-foot structure, crafted with care to blend into the lake's natural beauty. He'd taught me to respect the land, to understand the difference between what's legal and what's right. "This cabin's more than a home, Nathan," he'd said years ago, his calloused hands gesturing across the water. "It's a duty. Your great-grandfather fought to keep this lake open for everyone. One day you'll have to guard it too." That night, as Liam and Sophie joked by the fire, I felt Walter's pride in how I was honoring his legacy. Then Vivian stormed over, her pristine yoga outfit absurdly out of place at 8 p.m. Her face was a mask of fury, her auburn hair practically vibrating with rage. "This is unacceptable," she declared, as if addressing a courtroom. "This is a refined community, not a campsite for vagrants. Civilized people don't sleep in tents when they have houses." I stood, brushing off marshmallow crumbs, and kept my tone calm. "Vivian, we're just camping in my yard. We're quiet, legal, and not bothering anyone." She shook her head, eyes blazing. "HOA rules forbid this nonsense. It drags down property values. You'll see what happens when you flout community standards." With that, she spun around, already dialing her phone as she marched back to her mansion. An hour later, police floodlights turned our cozy campsite into a crime scene. The officer, clearly exasperated, checked our IDs and inspected the fire pit. After confirming everything was legal, he pulled me aside. "Look, man," he said, glancing at Vivian's house, where she watched from a window. "She's relentless. Calls us twice a month with nonsense complaints. Brace yourself, she's not done." I had no idea her petty 911 call would expose her dock's devastating secret. Any guesses what it was? Drop your theory below. The next morning at 6 a.m., an industrial leaf blower roared outside my window. Groggy, I peered out to see Vivian wielding it like a weapon, blasting non-existent leaves from her immaculate driveway onto my lawn. Her smirk said it all. This was war. For 2 weeks, the leaf blower became my daily alarm, always at the earliest legal hour. HOA violation notices piled up inside garden beds, imaginary fire hazards, landscaping below standards. Each bore Vivian's elegant signature, like edicts from a queen. Emails from her husband's law firm, Crestwood Legal, arrived daily, threatening liens and forced sales. The language was designed to intimidate, assuming I couldn't fight back. Vivian's campaign was surgical, timed to disrupt my work. She'd blast the leaf blower during client calls, schedule HOA inspections when I had visitors, even warn my clients about legal disputes in my driveway. The breaking point came during a critical Zoom pitch to a boutique hotel, China, $400,000 contract that could define my career. I'd spent months crafting 3D renderings of eco-friendly lobby designs. 20 minutes in, as I presented to impressed executives, Vivian unleashed what sounded like a jet engine outside my office. The noise drowned me out. "Are you at a construction site?" An executive asked, frowning. I mumbled about a neighbor's yard work, but the damage was done. The noise stopped the second I ended the call. Vivian glanced at my window with a triumphant smile. That evening, the hotel chain emailed. They were exploring other options. My biggest opportunity gone. Rage burned in me. This wasn't just about HOA rules. Vivian was trying to ruin my livelihood. I decided to fight back, starting with research. Analyzing Crestwood Legal's email headers, I discovered every threat and HOA notice came from their internal network. Vivian wasn't just using her husband's letterhead, she was waging her vendetta from his law office, abusing professional resources. It was infuriating but clarifying. I wasn't facing legitimate legal action, just a bully with too much power. Then came a knock on my door. George, an elderly neighbor who'd lived on Willow Lake for decades, stood there, his face etched with worry. "Nathan," he said, "you look like Walter did when he fought for this lake's soul." Over coffee on Walter's dock, George revealed the neighborhood's dark history. 5 years ago, when Vivian built her dock, he'd suspected something was off but stayed silent, fearing her legal clout. She drove out the Lopez family over a too-bright swing set, he said, voice trembling. Forced the elderly Parkers to demolish their shed over a 6-inch height violation. Pushed the Chun family to move after endless fence disputes. George's guilt was palpable, but he knew something that could shift the tide. In 1985, Walter led a battle against developers trying to privatize Willow Lake's shoreline. Armed with meticulous records deeds, surveys, maps, she secured a permanent public easement along the eastern shore. George handed me a faded note in Walter's handwriting. Survey records, Box 19, County Archives, East Shore Easement, Walter Hayes, August 1985. It felt like Walter was guiding me from beyond. The next day, I dove into the county archives' dusty basement. Box 19 held a treasure trove. 1,985 survey maps, stamped and signed, photos of the undeveloped shore, and legal documents establishing a 15-foot public easement. Vivian's dock, I realized, extended 30 feet into this protected zone, a blatant violation. I photographed every page, my hands shaking with excitement. Back home, I showed George the documents. Walter would be proud, he said, smiling. He always said the truth comes out when it's needed most. At the county surveyor's office, I met David Lee, a seasoned professional who confirmed the map's authenticity. Using GPS and satellite imagery, we proved Vivian's dock encroached 35 feet on a public land, worth $1.5 million. Her 2018 permit claimed a 10-foot wooden dock. She built a 40-foot concrete monstrosity, violating environmental laws with artificial lighting and blocked water flow. I compiled a 50-page report with photos, measurements, and permit discrepancies, delivering it to the EPA and county planning office. But Vivian was watching me, snapping photos and parking near my house. Her harassment eased, which unnerved me more. She was planning something. Then her counterattack hit. Vivian filed an anonymous EPA complaint, accusing me of environmental crimes. She'd photographed me repairing Walter's 60-year-old stone steps, editing the images to look like illegal shoreline excavation. Her report claimed I was dumping materials into wetlands, backed by falsified photos. 2 weeks after my complaint, EPA Inspector Rachel Torres arrived, treating me like a criminal. For 3 hours, they sampled soil, photographed my dock, and grilled neighbors. Fines could hit $50,000, with possible criminal charges. The irony was crushing. While I exposed Vivian's crimes, she'd framed me as the villain. Desperate, I crafted a 70-page counter-report, proving her photos were manipulated and detailing her dock's violations. I delivered it to the EPA, county, and HOA, framing Vivian as the true criminal. It was a gamble: either I'd be vindicated or her lies would bury me. That Friday, Vivian called an emergency HOA meeting to expel me, displaying her fake photos to a packed community center. As she demanded my removal, EPA and county officials entered. Inspector Torres announced a cease and desist order. Vivian's dock was 75% on public land, a $1 million theft. She had 30 days to demolish it or face prosecution. County Officer Lee revealed her falsified complaint, exposing potential criminal charges. George stood, demanding an HOA audit, sparking an uproar as neighbors shared years of grievances. Vivian crumbled, whispering, "My life, everything." 3 months later, Vivian's dock was gone, the shore restored. She faced $200,000 in fines, $75,000 in legal fees, and $100,000 in demolition costs. Resigning as HOA president, she awaited criminal charges. One September evening, as I camped with friends, Vivian passed by. "Want a marshmallow, Vivian?" "Perfectly legal." I called. She hurried off, and George chuckled. "That's justice, Nathan. Sweet as a marshmallow." But what happened when Vivian's husband faced the legal bills? Did the HOA audit uncover more? What would you have done? Confronted Vivian or gone straight to the authorities? Comment, confront, or report. And should I have waited or struck when I did? Say wait or strike. Share your thoughts, like, and subscribe for what's next. This lake's secrets aren't done yet.